Hey, welcome to Happiness Bar, where my goal is to share cocktails, content, and happiness. Today, we got another summer craft cocktail coming for you with this little Wes Anderson theme summer craft cocktail menu. This cocktail is made with a cucumber infused reposado tequila, a lemon rind and pine nut oleo-orgeat. It's a combination, it's a mixture, it's cool as fuck. We got lemon juice in this bad boy. We got Montenegro Amaro. A little bit of salt that's shaken up. That's gonna be served up. It's a beautiful, bright summer cocktail. This cocktail is called Moonrise Kingdom. All right, so the build for Moonrise Kingdom is 1.5 ounces of cucumber infused reposado tequila, 1/2 ounce Amaro Montenegro, 1/2 ounce lemon juice, 3/4 ounce of that lemon pine nut oleo-orgeat fusion we got going on, 1 pinch of sea salt that's shaken, that's double strained, that's served up in a coupe glass, and we're gonna garnish that with a little lemon peel. All right, so with all that being said, we got a little bit of prep work to do today, so let's just go ahead and jump right into the prep work. Tools you're gonna need for the prep. You're gonna need a cutting board. You're gonna need a knife. You're gonna need a kitchen scale, something that can weigh out grams. You're gonna need a citrus juicer. You're gonna need a liquid measuring cup. You're gonna need some mesh basket strainers. You're gonna need some cheesecloth. You're gonna need a muddler. You're gonna need some teaspoons. You're gonna need a mixing bowl. You're gonna need a pot. You're gonna need a bar spoon or something you can stir with. You're gonna need a food processor or a blender. And you're gonna need some sealable storage containers. You're also gonna need a citrus peeler. All right, so the first bit of prep we gotta do is we gotta make that cucumber infused tequila. So we're gonna need 500 milliliters of reposado tequila and 428 grams of cucumbers sliced thin. Then we're gonna mix that into the tequila. We're gonna shake that up. We're gonna leave it out on the counter for about an hour. Then we're gonna infuse overnight in the refrigerator for 24 hours. So let's grab our cutting board and our knife. And we're also gonna need our kitchen scale and a container to weigh in here. So I'm gonna grab one of my cucumbers and I'm just gonna start slicing them up, right? But before I slice it really thin, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take some big chunks and I'm gonna throw it into the scale here so that way we can weigh out our 428 grams. Ends off. All right, we got 428 grams of cucumber. What I'm gonna do is just slice these up, not those, these. I'm gonna slice these up real thin. Now we want them sliced up thin because we want the most surface contact between the tequila and the cucumber. That way we get the best infusion. So cut as thin as you can, whatever you're comfortable with. Just watch those little fingies. Throw all these in here. So we got our 428 grams. Cucumber sliced thin. Get this out of here, so we're done with the cutting board. And what we need to do next is start that infusion process. So we need to measure out our 500 milliliters of reposado tequila. Now, grab your measuring cup, or if you got one of these cool crew bottles that I've started to use here, got the milliliters right in the bottle. Don't even need the measuring cup, so we're just gonna measure out that 500 milliliters of tequila. Boom, 500 milliliters of tequila. Now, before I go closing this bad boy up, we got the bottom of the bottle off, which is super cool. We're just gonna start dropping these cucumbers down into the bottle. Makes it so easy for your infusions, right into a bottle. All right, we got our last cucumbers there. Fill that bottle up. Let's screw the bottom of the bottle back on, make sure it's nice and sealed, and we're just gonna give it a little bit of a shake here to let that infuse, let it incorporate nicely. Right, and there we have it, guys, the start to our cucumber infused tequila. What we're gonna do is we're gonna leave that on the counter for about an hour, give it a good shake every so often, then we're gonna put it in the refrigerator overnight, let it infuse for 24 hours, come back, we'll strain it out, and that cucumber tequila will be ready to go to make our cocktail, Moonrise Kingdom, baby. All right, guys, it has been 24 hours. Our cucumbers have been infusing into our reposado tequila. Next step, we just gotta strain it out, and then our cucumber infused reposado tequila will be ready to go for our cocktail. All right, so I'm gonna grab a quart container here. I got my mesh basket strainer. Oh yeah, works perfectly. Look at that lineup. All right, so we got our tequila. What I'm gonna do, just open up the bottom of this crew bottle here, make it real easy. Ta-da, ta-da. Pour that in Strain out all our cucumber. Try not to make too much of a mess. Get all those cucumbers out. Those are all out. Put that bottom back on for a second. Cucumbers out of here. All right, cucumbers are strained out. I'm just gonna open up that Cru bottle again, and we're just gonna use the bottle that we have. Why not, right? Pour that Cucumber Infused Reposado Tequila right back into our Cru bottle. Grab the bottom, makes it so easy. Close it up, it's sealed, it's beautiful, it's ready to go. You can see the color on it, man. It picked up that nice light green color from the cucumbers. And that Cucumber Reposado Tequila is ready to go. Next step, we gotta make that lemon rind and pine nut little oleo-orgeat fusion. Now, people may look at me like I'm crazy. It made sense to me, it seemed cool, I wanted to kind of fuse the two. I took the process of an oleo, I took the process of an orgeat, I crammed them together essentially. So, you're gonna see steps from kind of both of those processes. So let's jump into it. All right, so the recipe for our little lemon rind pine nut oleo orgeat. We're gonna need 300 grams of sugar. We're gonna need the peels from 3 lemons. We need 125 grams of pine nuts, 300 milliliters of hot water, a half teaspoon of orange flower water, and a 1/4 ounce of mezcal. All right, so first things first, we're gonna need our scale, and we are going to need a container to weigh and make sure that's zeroed out, and we're gonna weigh out our 125 grams of pine nuts. And side note, if you're looking for a good spot to get pine nuts, fairly affordable. It can be a little expensive in the store. I got these on Amazon. It was like a pound for like 13 bucks or something. That's not that bad. So 125 grams of pine nuts. 125 grams of pine nuts. Man, I love the smell of these. Reminds me of Christmas time. My mother and my aunt making pinoli cookies. Ooh, it's the best. Love the smell. All right, 125 grams of pine nuts. What we're gonna do, we're gonna toss that into our pot. Then we are going to cover the pine nuts with enough water to cover them. So this is not your 300 milliliters of hot water. This is just water to cover these. We're gonna bring them to a boil, let them simmer. So I'm gonna crank on this heat. I'm gonna bring these up to the boil. Once they're up to boil, I'm gonna drop the heat down. I'm gonna let it simmer for 30 minutes. Next step, well, we got those pine nuts going. I got my scale here, a little container to weigh in. I'm gonna grab my mixing bowl, and we are gonna weigh out our 300 grams of sugar. So we got our nice cane sugar here. Scale zeroed out, weighing out that 300 grams. 300 grams of sugar, and dump that into our mixing bowl here. Like I said, we need the peels from 3 lemons. Get this scale out of here. Grab my citrus peeler, and we're just gonna peel all 3 of these bad boys. You wanna get nice peels off them, but you don't wanna go too deep because you don't wanna get that like white pithy part of the lemon. That'll just make it kinda bitter in an unpleasant way. And don't toss these lemons. We're gonna save these and we're gonna juice these for our juice. See, we use the entire part of the lemon. These are really oily lemons, which is great for this, because that's what we want. We want to extract those oils from these peels and infuse it into the sugar. Go, one more. You make this recipe at home, I promise your kitchen's gonna smell so good. It's gonna smell like lemons and pine nuts, cucumber. It's just a lot of wonderful fragrances here. Oh yeah. Nice lemons peeled. Give our pine nuts a little stir. And we're just gonna continue on while we wait for those to come up to a boil. So what we need to do is we need to get these lemons to release their oils into this sugar. So there's 2 ways you can go about this. You can muddle them into the sugar, which is what I'm doing here. Or if you happen to have a vacuum sealer at home, you could throw all this into a vacuum sealer bag, seal it up, beat it up a little bit, and you can let that sit for like 3 days. This process here, a little bit harder, but you get a little more instant gratification. It usually takes about 10, maybe 15 minutes of muddling to get this to the consistency you want. What you're looking for is you want these rinds to release enough oils to essentially make a paste. Start to see the sugar get wet after a while. It'll be very, very paste-like. So basically what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sit here and continue to muddle until we get the consistency that we want. Because, you know, we're waiting on our pine nuts to simmer for 30 minutes anyway, so gotta kill time somehow. All right, let me pause that. This is starting to come up to a boil. I'm gonna drop this heat. Yeah. And now we are gonna let that simmer for 30 minutes. And while that's simmering, we're just gonna keep on muddling away here. All right, I think we're getting to that little paste-like situation we got going on here. Oils from the lemons are releasing. Pine nuts are still going. Probably got about 15 more minutes on those. So we're just gonna leave these lemon rinds in the sugar. They'll continue to release some oil, so you'll see them become a little more paste-like, even just sitting there by themselves. And then once this is good to go, we will strain these pine nuts out of this hot water. We're gonna add them into our food processor. We're gonna add our 300 milliliters of hot water in with them, and we're gonna blend those down until they're completely smooth. And then we're gonna let that sit for about 2 hours, strain it out, and yeah. So I'll go through that process with you as I walk through it. Right now we're still letting these bad boys simmer. All right, it's been 30 minutes. I'm gonna turn these off the heat. That pot is hot. I'm gonna take these inside real quick. I'm gonna strain these out. I'm gonna come back with the pine nuts and we'll keep on going. All right, so we got our pine nuts strained out here. I'm gonna place my lemon rinds and sugar aside and just let those oils keep releasing. All right, and what we need to do next is we need to add our pine nuts into our food processor. Grab our measuring cup. We're gonna measure out 300 milliliters of hot water. This water nice and hot. 300 milliliters hot water. Gonna add that hot water in with the pine nuts. Then we're gonna simply crank this baby on until smooth. All right, let's see. I think we're looking good. And what I'm simply gonna do is just pour this in to a quart container. Now we gotta let this bad boy sit, ideally for like 2 hours. You just wanna let it rest, it cools down, the pine nuts infuse really nicely, and then we'll come back and we'll strain it out through some cheesecloth. Now, if you're short on time, you can rush this process a little bit, it's fine, but ideally try to let it sit for 2 hours. You'll just be happier with the flavor, I think. All right, so our pine nut mixture here has been sitting and resting for 2 hours. Next step we gotta do is we gotta strain it through our cheesecloth. So we got another container here, we got our basket strainer, and we got some cheesecloth to top it. So we're just gonna pour this mixture into our strainer. Perfect. And we're just gonna let that drip on through. What I like to do, it helps it along a little bit. You can kind of lift up the sides, give it a little shake, just be careful. You don't let any spill over. Once a little more liquid goes through, we'll tie this little bad boy up like a dumpling and we'll start pressing and squeezing. We make sure we get all of that pine nut milk out of this pureed mixture here. You know, so you could take this same process with the nuts we did with the pine nuts, and you could do this with any nut, and you can make nut milk at home for whatever you want to do. You can make almond milk for yourself, you can make hazelnut milk, pine nut milk, Brazil nut milk, peanut milk, whatever. If you're not big on drinking cow's milk. Well, I like the cow's milk. I feel like it gave me nice strong teeth and bones. At least that's what my mom said. All right, so I'm just gonna twist this up carefully here, making sure nothing spills over. We'll just give this a little press. It's the other bonus too of, you know, waiting 2 hours. Pine nut milk is that it's not hot anymore and you can kind of work with it a little bit. Keep twisting and pressing. I feel like that is all milk we are gonna get. All right, so let's go ahead and just measure up our milk here, see what we got. Make sure we got what we need. Oh yeah, beautiful. We got about 300 milliliters of milk here. Depending on your loss, you might end up anywhere between 225 and 300. That's okay, close enough for this process, but try to get as close to 300 milliliters as you can. We got about 300 milliliters of our pine nut milk. Let's get our little lemon sugar mixture here. It's nice and paste-like. Those oils have released. Oh yeah. Grab my bar spoon, and we are just gonna pour all the sugar and lemon rinds into the pot. All right, pour in our 300 milliliters of pine nut milk. We need our half teaspoon of orange flower water. Boom, and I got a little mezcal here. So we're gonna do a 1/4 ounce of mezcal. And that just really fortifies the orgeat to make sure everything stays incorporated, gives it a little longer shelf life. You can do this like traditional orgeat. We do it with brandy or other liquors. You can use Everclear. I just figured since we're doing a tequila cocktail, let's try it with a little mezcal, right? Adds a hint of smokiness into our little oleo-orgeat. All right, we got everything in the pot. Let's turn the heat on to a medium-high heat. Grab that bar spoon. I'm gonna give it a stir. The orgeat's like picking up a little color from those lemon rinds. It's getting a little yellow from the oils. All right, everything's nice and incorporated here. Now we're just gonna let that come up to just about a boil, and we're gonna allow all that sugar to dissolve, and we're gonna strain it out. Grab a container. Let me grab one of my basket strainers. Just about perfect. It looks like all that sugar is dissolved. I'm gonna turn off the heat. I'm gonna take oleo-orgeat here, and we're just gonna strain it right through this basket strainer, spilling a little, but getting most of it. Oh yeah. Strain out. Let's go ahead and wipe that up. And let's grab some blue tape to label and date as always. And guys, I say your shelf life on this, you're good up to a month refrigerated. It's a lid on it, and that one is good to go. Side note, that cucumber tequila, I would say you're also good for up to a month refrigerated. You could go a little bit longer. Just keep an eye on it. If it starts to get weird, probably time to toss it. All right, so we got our lemon and pine nut oleo-orgeat going on here. We got our cucumber tequilas done. Last thing we gotta do is just cut and juice some lemons, baby. Grab our cutting board. We got our knife, our citrus juicer, and we're just gonna grab those 3 lemons that we peeled, right? No waste here. It's always good when it works out that way for a cocktail. Bang, grab our containers, our citrus juicer, and squeeze them up. Oh yeah. All right, lemon is juiced. Let's go ahead and double strain as always. Once, twice, 3 times a lady. Grab a lid, grab some blue tape, label and date. Lemon juice, good for 2 days. Start out on the 3rd day. And there you have it, guys. Lemon juice done. That lemon pine nut oleo-orgeat done, and the cucumber reposado tequila is done. That is it for our prep work today. Let's go ahead and jump into making the Moonrise Kingdom, baby. All right, guys, I got my lemon juice in this cheater bottle here. I got my oleo-orgeat in this cheater bottle here. We got our cucumber infused reposado tequila. We are ready to roll. This is a shaken cocktail, so first thing we're gonna need is our shaker tin, and we're gonna need our jigger. We're also gonna need our glassware. So first things first, cheapest ingredients, most expensive. We're gonna go with 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. And we're gonna need 3/4 ounce of that lemon pine nut oleo-orgeat. We're gonna need 1/2 ounce of our Montenegro Amaro. We need 1.5 ounces of our cucumber infused reposado tequila. We need a pinch of sea salt. Next, let's grab large side of our shaker tin and grab some ice. Fill the short side of our shaker tin all the way to the top with ice. And we're gonna seal that bad boy up. Shake it for 12 seconds as always. "12 seconds, crack that container." Oh yeah. Grab both our basket and our Hawthorne strainer. Double strain this bad boy. Oh yeah. Lastly, let's grab our garnish. Let's get a nice wide, fat peel off that lemon. Give it a spritz, and then we're just gonna twist this bad boy up right on the edge of the drink. And there you have it, guys. Moonrise Kingdom. Let's taste. Oh yeah, you get the lemon, strong on the nose, the cucumber, a little bit of pine nut. Whoa. It's nice and rich and creamy. You get that like that little bit of bitter acidity from the lemon rind. Nice level of sweetness. The cucumber comes through with that reposado tequila, a touch of age. Ooh. Touch of salinity from that salt. Those pine nuts bring in such a nice, gentle nuttiness, man. That really, really creamy note of the pine nut. So enjoyable. That is a fantastic little summer cocktail right there, baby. Cucumbers and lemons and pine nuts and tequila. Amaro Montenegro brings in a touch of that bitterness, a little bit of that like herbaceous note. It's really nice how it all comes together. It's a fantastic summer cocktail. There it is, guys, the Moonrise Kingdom. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Maybe you made it along with me. Maybe you wrote it down, save it for a later date. Either way, let me know how you're liking everything. And as always, guys, become a regular somewhere. Become a regular at your local watering hole. It's the best way to support local business. Become a regular here at Happiness Bar by liking, commenting, subscribing. Hit that bell if you want notifications. We got cocktail videos coming out every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern to get you ready for the weekend. Woo! Stay happy, everyone.